Australia have retained the Ashes after rain prevented any play on the final day of the Manchester Test. England was seemingly in command at Old Trafford and looked set to level the series, but the rain gods were not in their favour. Now, in the manner in which Australia have retained the urn, it has drawn polarizing comments from both sides of the camp. So, does Australia deserve the Ashes? That's what we are going to discuss in this live. Hello and welcome to WION Sports Xtra. I am Nikhil Mathur and I am joined by my colleague Vidur Kathuria. And our sports side Digvijay Singh Deo is back.
Yes, back after a very painful last 1 week and perhaps not as painful as the England dressing room was last evening. And clearly Vidur Kathuria walked into that dressing room and we can see that
I took a few punches.
Yeah.
So Australia won the first two matches fair and square. The third match was a draw because rain played spoil sport. Fourth, England won the third match and they clearly had the momentum. And the fourth match was a draw because of the rain. But why is England crying, if I may say, foul? And I was reading comments, they were dubbed as
victories, what they said, right?
Yeah, hollow and cry babies. There were comments.
Listen, can I be honest with you? Let's just go back 4 years. How did England win the World Cup? Some 50-over World Cup in Lords. Anyone remember? It was a tie, right?
No one raised
something was about some boundary count back rule. So basically they were on a technicality, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was perhaps more contentious because that game ended in a draw than this one because Australia didn't ask for it to rain. It happened. And we clearly saw the rain at the British Open where
as a proof
and everyone else had to use the right term, plod their way through that muck, especially with not the greens, but when you were off and walking from one hole to the other, there was a lot of rain. So, listen, this is sport. It happens. It's an outdoor sport. Matches across the world have happened. I mean, Pakistan should never have become World Cup champions in '92. The rain came there.
Yeah.
Should England forget? There was a South Africa match in 1992 World Cup, which allowed them to go to the final. Well, it happens, right?
And in 2013 also, I think England retained the Ashes when it rained at Manchester again. I think England were 37 for 3.
But my point is, yes, Australia were under the pump. But England couldn't get the job done. I mean, they played very well. They deserved, in fact, to win this test match. No problems there. They were outstanding the way they batted. I was telling you, you guys were at work and I was at home so I could watch some stuff. Johnny Best over that last wicket. He went from what, 20-something to 99, right? With Anderson, right? Oh, there was some hitting.
Yeah.
So they deserve to win it. But then this is cricket. It's a test match. You don't play it indoors, right?
Yeah.
So happens luck of the draw going to Australia's way. And Australia have retained the Ashes not because this test match was a draw, because they won the first two test matches.
Exactly.
And it's coming back to that declaration decision by Ben Stokes. Because we had a big chat about it and how he gambled, and he gambled too much, and that's cost them the Ashes.
So the first match, the declaration, then we had the spirit of the game debate, and now again this debate around rain.
Well, something, England always cry foul about something or the other when they seem to lose. But as Digvijay mentioned, who won the first two test matches? I think the English camp seems to be forgetting that they lost the first two test matches, and that is why they no longer have the chance to regain the Ashes. Look, everyone knows England outplayed Australia in the first 3 days of the fourth test. They probably would have won. And that's what we wanted to see as spectators of the. We wanted to see that,
thrilling fifth test.
Yes, it would have been a spectacle as the series has been, but no one can control the weather.
Yeah,
no one can do that, and it's not. I don't think Australia is to sort of blame, obviously, and but the English camp always they whenever it's convenient for them, they bring up these conversations about why isn't play allowed till like 10 p.m. and things like that, which is a conversation exactly. And these conversations always seem to come up when England lose. So why does that happen? It's the rules are the same for everyone. No one can control the weather gods.
Listen, and they knew when this test match started that there's going to be rain forecast.
Yeah.
Okay, India is not going to crave if the rain match gets washed out today.
Yeah, because
right? I mean, it happens in sport. I remember a test match when Dhoni was batting with Srishant, and Steve Buckner somehow gave him not out. Correct, 2007. That test match got rained off. It was a draw. And then India won that series. It was under Old Trafford
Yeah.
in 2007.
7. That's the last time India won a test series in England.
And I was reading through the comments, a few of the former English cricketers.
Sorry, I just want to add. What I liked about the Australian response was Pat Cummins coming out and saying, we didn't play our best.
Yeah, he said,
And we hold
not
our
the
hands
best
up.
of manners.
This is not the best. I love that. That is an admission that we got away.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's not their fault. I mean, as you said, let's go back to the decisions that happened in this series. It's going back, if they had got 20 runs extra, 30 runs extra, would they have won that first test? Yes.
Or maybe they could have, declared this time as well. If they want to take risk, if they knew there was rain forecast on the last 2 days, they would have declared like
India declared yesterday.
Yeah.
181 for 2 in what? At more than baseball, by the way.
Yeah.
India were playing at 6.5 and over.
Yeah. So, I mean, the decisions were all in England's hand. They would have declared. A lot of former cricketers are saying that, Australia went into the test with a mindset of, playing defensive game. They did not include a spinner. They batted.
Somebody told me they played for 3.5 days. They picked that team.
Yeah.
So that's being smart.
Yeah, exactly. No one, England expects everyone to play aggressive cricket. No, this is the cricket that Australia wants to play. I mean, there's no objection to it.
Yeah, well,
I just think, as Vidhu said, the rules can't suit you one day and not suit you the next day. This is a cricket match, 5-day test match. You had Australia in the ropes, you couldn't close it out, bad luck. It's your conditions.
Exactly. And they can't invoke spirit of cricket, spirit of the game in this
How many times
test.
have England got away in Sydney or any other place, sort of drawing the test last day because of some weather somewhere? Listen, weather is not an excuse.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't even give an excuse for that rain interruption against South Africa, 92 by 22 of 13 balls becomes 22 of 1 ball. Okay, but again, that was in the rules. That was not the English, right? It was the ICC, whatever situation there. It's just bizarre. And you got to take it on the chin. I thought Ben Stokes took it on the chin very well. It's the surround sound. Oh, the Aussies, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you couldn't get them out. You had 30 overs on that final day, which ended up being the final day, right?
Yeah.
I didn't expect any play to happen. But the fact is there were 30 overs and Australia lost to 1 wicket. They were into that tail.
Yeah. Because Labuschagne was due for a big inning and he finally got a century. Yeah.
Okay, but overall, if you tell me, are Australia the better team in this series? I will say no. They may lead 2-1. But are they the better team in the series? No. But the reason why a test match is called a test match, you have to win passages of play.
Yeah.
You can't, there are times when the best team doesn't win. We saw it. I mean, England, that declaration set up the match and Australia chased it down.
Yeah.
In the first test with Pat Cummins, the unlikely hero.
But Ashes, England can't retain the Ashes. But the fourth test still, there's plenty of stake. Fifth test, there's plenty of stakes online. You can still draw the series in terms of not retain the Ashes.
No, Australia can win the series for the first time in England since 2001. So
and
they
you
will
don't even need for a match to happen. They can win it if it gets rained off right in London.
and then we'll be having another conversation.
Exactly.
But 3-test series, Ashes 3-test series. But looking at where the situation is right now, I am hurting as an England fan, if I'm an England fan, because forget Australia retaining. They've held on to the urn since December 2017. That's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's 6 years and now it goes on to another, the next cycle is 10 more months?
10. Yeah, exactly. And now,
no,
so that
year and a half. It's next year, right? The next Ashes? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that also means England have failed to win their last 2 home Ashes.
Yes.
That's a big deal because
2019.
Yeah.
And then this one.
Yeah.
And before that, they had won in 2015.
Yes.
Yeah. You got to win at home.
Especially with the form of
in
the
your
baseball.
Home conditions.
Yeah. Home conditions and baseball.
This is the first draw they've had. Well, luck of the draw. I mean, first draw in what? 15, 16 games, 17 games? We have a comment. Timothy Williams says, yes, Australia deserves to retain the Ashes. Well, you can't argue with the scorecard.
Yeah, exactly.
The series scorecard says 2-1 after 4 games. I just think that in a 5-test series, the moment you take a 2-love lead, or like a tennis match, best of 5 Grand Slam final, the moment you win 2, it's very rare that you get a Tsitsipas or a Medvedev. In case of Medvedev, he actually had a breakup on Nadal in that in the Australian final last year.
Yeah.
But you're 2-0 up. how bad? Okay, you can play badly for 2 test matches as well. This was Australia's one bad match. I don't think they were bad in the last one as well. But yeah, 3 matches to go. You would expect them to have one decent performance, at least to draw it.
Yeah. But you never know with England, because the way they were carrying the momentum in the third and the fourth test, it looked like they might,
they had no momentum in the third. They got lucky that they got the better conditions and they bowled Australia out for 200 odd.
But the first 2 test matches were also close in terms of England lost, but it wasn't. All them went to the final session.
I believe firmly that the first test match should have been an England victory.
Yeah.
They got it wrong.
The decision.
Call.
Yeah. There's no doubt in the 4th test, England did not get the rub of the cream. But in the first test especially, they didn't capitalize when they were on top.
Yeah.
And that is in their control. So you have to look back and say Australia obviously played that sensible test cricket as we discussed earlier, and that is why they won the first 2 tests. And just a word on Pat Cummins, generally also the way he's conducted himself off the pitch, he has dealt with the Johnny Bairstow controversy has been commendable.
Yeah.
The way he's led Australia.
Same comments. Okay, so what do we have? This is the poll.
Do Australia deserve to retain the Ashes? Oh, interesting. 46% say yes, while 54% say no, they don't deserve to retain the Ashes. I mean,
Scorecard. 2-1, 4 games gone.
Facts are not facts for some people, I guess.
Yeah.
2-1.
Fact, you should ask that to Rafael Benitez.
Yeah.
He'll tell you all about facts. Okay. So, what's happening at 6:30 apart from the fact that I'm back? Happy to see me, boys? Not happy to see me.
That's the headline. Our first headline is that Digvijay is back.
Dig is back. Vidhu didn't like it, so he's gone and enjoyed himself. What were you doing, by the way? England dressing room?
Yeah, well, I was there, obviously, and Ben Stokes wasn't too happy with me being there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the Open, obviously.
Brian Harman, fantastic performance, because it got boring. That's what we were talking this morning. But that just shows that on a golf course where everyone struggled, like -7 was tied for second. We had Tom Kim, Seb Straka, John Rahm, big names, huh? Rory was in that top 10. India's Shubhankar Sharma, what a performance from him.
Best
17 pars, 1 birdie.
Is it? I wanted to ask you: is it a best performance by an Indian at a major?
The Open,
At the Open, yes.
Not at a major. Anirban was tied for 5th at the USPGA in 2014.
Okay.
2014, 2015, one of those years. So, but outstanding performance, because it was a grind. That course was a minefield. And the way he played and the way Straka played, there was a point at the beginning where Straka dropped 2 and you thought, okay, Ram's in contention, Rory could come in, and then he goes and does 2 back-to-back birdies. At the moment, it's a 5-shot lead.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, speaking of boring, Max Verstappen has won his 7th straight race, another record he sealed for Red Bull, 12th consecutive victory for Red Bull, breaking McLaren's record, and obviously the legendary Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost were the drivers in 1988. So another record for him. He's cruising his way towards the title.
Yeah, but look at it the other way. Max Verstappen knows what it is to be on the other side of this, because when Lewis Hamilton was winning all those races, everybody else was having the same problem. But credit to Red Bull. I mean, listen, every team starts off the year on 0.
Yeah.
And what we see in March at the Australian Grand Prix, which is where it starts off, is the work you've done in that postseason from January, February. Or to be fair, the designing of the car starts in probably August, September. So the Red Bull team have got it right. And Mercedes, 2 years in a row, they have gone backwards.
Yeah. And also Checo Perez, he was also on the podium.
Second, good drive. I think he saved his seat.
Exactly.
From 9th to 3rd.
Because he's under pressure.
Yes.
With Daniel, saved his seat for the year. I think Daniel Ricciardo will have to wait till 2024.
And of course, the Women's World Cup, where Italy defeated Argentina 1-0. And the second match is underway. You'll see all the...
Germany-Morocco is underway.
Yeah.
And we're waiting. There could be a record. You could have the first player to be playing a World Cup match with a hijab.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that. We are here. We haven't seen that. And later it's Brazil are playing.
So that and much more on our show at 6:30 p.m. IST. Thanks for tuning in.